Our next speaker is Madhavi Kuckreja, director of Sanatkada, for her I would like to invite her now for her presentation.
Adab. I'm going to, firstly, I want to thank India Today for this Pecha Kucha, because this was a challenge for me, and for a second I thought it was Gali Kucha they were talking about. But here we are with Pecha Kucha, and I'll give my hand. I'm going to talk about Lucknow, and it's going to be a case study of what we've tried to do. Lucknow was really not on the map maybe 15 years ago, or even 10 years ago, or even today. It's just something that people go to because they've gone to Allahabad and Banaras or the Buddhist circuit, and they're stopping in Lucknow on the way. We just looked at Lucknow through the past and the present, through intangible heritage, and also looked at Lucknow through not only for the tourists from outside, but Lucknow-walas to discover their own city. And I would say that it is very important. So we looked at Lucknow through different themes. You can look at a city in 100 different ways. Karigari, Pehnawa, food, Pehnawa is attire, craftsmanship, feminists of our women who lived out of the box. You can look at Raqs Mausiki, that's dance and music. You can look at the gullies of Lucknow. You can look at a city in many, many ways, and that's the journey we embarked on 15 years ago. I want to also tell you that I think it's very important for tourism to be to have all inclusivity, and that people should be all kinds of people should be able to contribute. So I'm talking about participate and contribute. So I'm talking about class, I'm talking about religion, I'm talking about sexual orientation, I'm talking about gender. And you think this is some kind of lecture, but please look at my presentation with this in mind, because everybody has to be part of this experience. And that, I think, is very important. And for us, we've looked at these themes through people, the regular people. That's you and me, not, again, just Nawabs and Kawabs. So, is this the one? No. Okay. So we start with, of course, people, again, past and present. This is the Parsi community in Lucknow. Not only Hindu, Muslim, many communities make Lucknow. The Bengalis, the Chinese, the Parsis, they all have to be part of this. So people are very important in this. Of course, food. And how do we do food? In many different ways. We've documented 120 street food, 40 years old, but the stories of the people behind them. So not only the food, because Lucknow is known for the food, but the people behind the street food. And then you have a home-cooked food festival. Lal Mirch Ka Keema, made by Noor Khan, which is in red chilies, minced meat, is sold out in 12 minutes, 12 kilos, in a food festival that we do once a year, where people fly in for 2 hours. How do you get home-cooked food to come into the city's agenda? So it's home-cooked food, and it is street food. So costumes and craft. A crafts bazaar that started with a 7 lakh sale that's now 2.5 crores in the last 12 years. Maybe that's not big numbers for Delhi, but for Lucknow, yes, it increased the market. It is dyeing craft, and this is Chatapati one. So we documented 957 attires from different homes, photographed them, put them out there for people to see. Putting out the outfits also in installations once in a while, but at least we documented them before they died in different people's homes. And then craft, the story of the craftspersons. The craftsperson, again, he's making a patka for Muharram, and that's Banu, who's never been awarded by anyone, and she makes lakh ki churiyan. So awarding and encouraging people of dying craft. I think that's sort of very important, and the voices of the craftspersons. So first documenting them, and then helping them market and come into everyday life. Performing arts, performances. I'm including, I'm sorry if this sounds like I'm just trying to weave it all in for you so that it all comes together, that everything is important. Everything has to be part of that experience. There's Bedbazi that was revived 16 years ago, now of course popular even in Delhi, which is a Antakshari of Urdu poetry. And then you have Soz Khwani, which has come from the religious space into the regular stage. So encouraging this, supporting this, showing it in small performances, and now you have hundreds of people come for both. People in Lucknow had not heard of Soz Khwani outside the religious space. And Lucknow Letters, a performance on the history of Lucknow through letters. So there's so many ways you can look at the story of Lucknow. 100 years through letters of people. And of course, we have a festival. I'm going to talk about that. Using Baradari, a 250-year-old building of Ajad Ali Shah for it. So that to make, the building was always used for shadis before this. To make it like right there in the middle, Wajid Ali Shah's Kaisar Bagh. And also, if we cannot restore homes, because we're a very small initiative, through crowdfunding, we can at least get homes to open up their homes for walks and tours, for lunches and dinners. So it's very important. We think that along with culture, we're also doing a culture, our syncretic activism, our activism that I spoke about is very important through our tourism and culture. So we have a museum, both offline and online, a small museum, one gallery, of oral history, oral documentation. We have a crafts shop, we have a home, restaurant, we have walks and tours, and we have a festival with a footfall of 1 lakh, and it's Mela Numa. Oral history documentation is our tool, our main tool. So I told you we've documented 16 themes over the years. The stories of people making stuff with flowers, the stories of the Pehnava, and installations, exhibits in the city, outside the city. Begum Akhtar's Mazar. We mark the city through women, through the feminists. You know Begum Akhtar, a very famous ghazal singer. There was not a single plaque on her across the city before we restored her grave. But restoring the mazar is not enough. It's not even a room half the size of this space. But we have a hazari by a performer every year. In India, we don't mark our performers. We don't mark our city with women. I think I really would like to mark this here today. On her death anniversary, you can come and hear a performer sing to Ammi right there. Walks and tours, that's Niyamat Khana. Food, so all the themes have a walk-in tour, whether it's craft, whether it's Gali Kucha, you can go into a Gali of Aminabad, whether it's Raqs o Mausiqi, music and dance, go to Birju Maharaj's house, go to an instrument maker. So all the themes also have a walk-in tour with them. Publications, very important, right through recipe book of home-cooked food, documenting food. We have a series of them. Again, you have to have performance spaces. We call it Addabazi, 3 times a month. This is on Google Arts and Culture. You can go in and see our themes. And a space for all researchers. Archiving is very important. So we have to start archiving tomorrow, everybody here. And the team has to be from the city. The team has to be mostly young, a few old ones around. The team has to be from all classes, religions, sexual orientation. Everyone has to feel a safe space and to discover the city. Our festival 10 years ago had 80% people were above 50. Today, 80% of the people who come to the festival are less than 30. That, for us, is our biggest achievement. Thank you. लखनऊ ज़रूर आइएगा.